Hey Mallory,
Hi. Hey,
how are
Kat.
you?
Good. I'm doing well. How are you?
That's good to hear. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for jumping on this call with me.
Yeah, excited to do it. I have a lot to say.
And you know what? You're an inspiration to other med spas. Like the hustle you have and like just determination is been incredible to see. And it's not only shown in your business flourishing, but it motivates me too. And I know you are going to motivate other med spas. So I'm just super
Yeah.
excited to hear what
Oh,
kind of
thank you.
you've had and success. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
means so much. Yeah, you learn pretty quickly in this industry. I think coming from like an acute care background, working in the hospital, there's this perception because it's like the happy side of nursing that like this is just a get rich quick scheme, not scheme, but a get rich quick type of business, and I'm just gonna make so much money, and it's gonna be so much less stressful, and all of this, and it's like that's not the reality of it. It's a lot of work on both of our ends, and I think both of us from the beginning were very committed and like transparent and willing to put in the work. And I think that's a testament to why this campaign or these campaigns have worked out so beautifully is because we both put in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't be here today without both being as committed, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions. The first one I have here is I'm sure you saw an ad or heard about Cam, this English guy.
Mhm.
What's the biggest thing holding you back from working with us in the beginning?
So biggest thing is just the reputation overall for most marketing agencies is not the best, at least from what I've heard within like my little cohort in of people in the med spot industry. A lot of beliefs that like it doesn't work, it's a waste of your money, they promise you the world and you don't get anything from it. So that has held me back from just investing in a marketing agency for a very long time. But as my business started to expand and I couldn't fulfill all the roles, right? I needed to outsource. I needed someone to help me bring in that new clients while I work on retention and staff development and training. So it just got to a point in my business where I had no choice but to at least give it a shot. And I did. I did a lot of research and then went to the rabbit hole of Facebook and Instagram. And I found one marketing company, just so you guys know, it wasn't you guys, it was a different one. And, they had great reviews. I mean, reviews after reviews. And I thought, okay, well, this many people can't be saying like these great things if there has to be something to it. And so I did give them a shot. I wouldn't say that it was a complete waste of money. I would say though that the results that I was getting from on their end from these campaigns didn't make it sustainable over a long course of time. I think it somewhat worked, but not enough for me to be able to keep paying the marketing spend and the ad budget. It just wasn't bringing enough people through the door. And every time I spoke to them about like, hey, how do we optimize these campaigns? Like, what do we need to do in order to yield better results, get more people in? It just very much always fell back on me. And which, like I said, I'm a huge believer that like this has to be, we have to be mutually committed. You can't just hire someone, same thing with social media manager, and just expect them to do all the work and then yield all of the rewards. No, it's a partnership. I really always believed in that. To me, there was just no accountability on their end for what they can do to make the campaigns better. It just always felt on me. You need to make sure you're calling them quickly enough. You need to make sure you're doing like, three points of contacts for the next 3 days immediately as the leads came in. And that became very burdensome for my staff. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I have great staff. They truly love speaking to people and are very, very well trained in sales. But realistically, to contact a lead within 15 minutes while managing the front desk, while dealing with our patients, I mean, we're a small business. We just didn't have the manpower to do that. And so, although I do believe that was probably one of the main reasons why we didn't get enough people in the door because we didn't contact them soon enough, I also believe that like this is something that would have been better served if it was outsourced. And I wish that other marketing company was more realistic because it seemed like the majority of their clients were small businesses about what it took from our end in order to truly make these campaigns successful. It just felt like they were just kind of running ads for us and bringing us leads, which honestly, if I'm being truly transparent, I could have done myself. So that segueing into Cam and why I went with the British guy. Main thing was like, again, once I let go of that company and decided to part ways, I was super against bringing in any other marketing agency. But I will say one beneficial thing about working with that is that I learned a lot. I learned where the gaps were. And the main thing was that like lead contact time, like finding people who are able to contact these leads within 15 minutes and repeatedly contact these leads to make sure that we kind of get that ball rolling and get them really excited and interested so they want to book that appointment. And then one of Cam's bullet points is that he came with a whole sales center. I mean, like, this is something that completely just relieves so much, like it just relieves so much work off of my staff, because they no longer have to be the people to contact hundreds and hundreds of leads. And that way I'm not burning my team out, and they're actually speaking with qualified leads, and then they can put all their efforts into selling to them. But it's like when you're calling, every 5 minutes and you're speaking, you're getting all these like hangups or stop calling me or I'm not interested. Like, that also weighs into the morale of your staff too, right? And it just seems like it's just phone call after phone call and it's not getting anywhere. So what I like is that you guys kind of take that burden off on us. So then when we are speaking with people, we're already speaking with people that are excited and motivated. And that way my team can be utilized to use like their sales skills in order to get that lead on the hook, for lack of a better word, and get them to come in and spend, their money on us.
That's amazing. Thank you for going so much in detail. Like, it's good to know your previous experience and how you learned and then transitioned to figuring out the gap we needed to fill for you. And that just shows in your commitment and working with us, because you showed up and you knew exactly what needed to be done with us and listening to us, and you just worked and we figured out, we filled in those gaps. And that leads me to my next question. Like, during this process of getting everything set up and figuring things out, how has the communication on your side of things, how has it worked with us, and like how do you find it's going?
Yeah, communication has been great, and that's one thing. Another thing I will say to distinguish you guys from the other marketing agency, not that they weren't communicative, but me and you from the beginning. You told me, Kat, like, hey, we need to set up a weekly meeting, even if it's for 10 minutes, just to make sure everything's going perfectly and running smoothly. I mean, yes, we do have our formal weekly meetings, but we probably speak like every day, right? Like multiple times throughout the day. And I think that's really essential, especially when you're starting a campaign, because every market is different, every med spa is different, every demographic is different. So it's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all solution. Even if you've had previous campaigns that were successful, doesn't mean that they're going to be successful here, or it's that exact same replica of a campaign that we can adapt to my market here. And so I think it's great that you guys were just so available, is that we were able to fine tune things minute by minute or hour by hour. And it leads me to save a lot of money, right? Because we're making those adaptations and we're able to optimize these campaigns in real time. With the other marketing company, it was a bi-weekly meeting. I could only communicate them by email, which I think is a modern version of snail mail at this point, right? Like, maybe they get in touch with me every 24 to 48 hours. By then, I've already spent $200, $300 on ad spend, when we could have corrected a problem right then in real time and like optimize that campaign so that I'm getting more bang for my buck. I mean, I feel like realistically, especially the first few months when we're trying to really fine tune a campaign, until we figure out what works, there's a lot of trial and error. And because of that, it's really essential that you work with a marketing agency that is very available and can talk to you on real time. I mean, again, I know you guys have other clients, and I'm not trying to say that you guys have to be like, waiting by the phone call, but you guys, compared to the other marketing agency, I would say do an amazing job at making sure you're reaching back to me as quickly as possible. I love the Slack channel because it feels like very much like a WhatsApp or an instant messenger, which is better than email, because sometimes we get bombarded with a bunch of emails and we don't check it until a day later. You're very responsive. And if you're not available, Cam's available. If Cam's not available, people from the sales center are available. So I would say communication has exceeded my expectations. And I think it's very essential also, from what I've learned just working with you guys, in order to run a successful campaign, at least the first 90 days.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. And we appreciate your communication too, because you're always ready to give us an answer. And you also have like your other team members on there. And it's just, again, it's a team effort, right? We're a partner in this. So communication needs to come from both sides. And I think we're conquering that piece. So that's exciting. Yeah. So my other question here, what have your results been like? And if you're comfortable, I would love for you to share how much you've made with the campaigns.
Yeah. I have a little cheat sheet for you that I worked on last night, because I love numbers, as you probably already know. And I think that's something that is missing in a lot of reviews, not with you guys in particular, but with what I've noticed from other marketing agencies, is that they'll speak to a lot of how great their experience is, but they're not really speaking about the numbers and exactly how can we quantify how these campaigns have performed. So I have all of that for you. So we started our campaign on October 28th, right? So I've tracked it for 45 days. Total ad spend around $4,500 because we did run 2 campaigns at $100 budget a day. Marketing spend $3,000. So then total marketing spend for 45 days was around $7,500. From that, we got 48 booked appointments, 28 cancellation no-shows, so about a 42% show rate. Out of the 20 appointments, we closed 8. And I will say the only reason our number wasn't higher than that, because I do have an excellent sales team, is because some of them just didn't qualify. And we're very transparent. We don't want bad reviews. People are spending their money. We don't want to tell them, promise them the moon and the stars when that's not what they're going to get. But out of those 20 appointments, we closed 8. So we made total gross sales of $26,861 minus the marketing spend. So we made a net sale of $19,356 in the first 45 days. And my goal, so really, really amazing. And again, these are lasers, so the profit margin does tend to be really high because there's something we already paid for, and the disposables are pretty low in cost compared to like injectables. So that's pretty much how we actually made, in the first 45 days. So that's amazing. I did speak when I first met Cam and we were speaking about my goals. I was going over my quarterly sales from last year, and I was telling him that I was trying to match that now because I'm trying to fire myself as a provider and then build up my staff so that they're seeing the majority of the clients. And so because of that, obviously there's going to be a little bit of dip in sales because we need time to properly train the staff and get them to meet those benchmarks. And I will say, like, for the month of November, which is pretty much the entire time that we ran this campaign, I met my $100,000 benchmark for the month, which is my first time ever since opening. So that's really, really exciting, and definitely could not have done it without you guys.
That's amazing, Mallory. Congratulations.
So we're really happy.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You are bringing on another nurse, which is very exciting. So you're building up your team, and and it's so that's my goal for the next year, is to kind of take a step back from actually seeing patients and just focusing on managing and developing and training my staff. And it's just such a relief that I can focus on that and don't have to worry about constantly bringing in new people in the door. All I have to worry is now on just client retention and staff development, which is my forte and what I love to do. So definitely not have done it without you guys. It was getting really taxing on me. As a small business owner, you're like filling in all the hats, you're doing it all, and you get burned out. So I think if you can find a marketing team that's in alignment with your goals, that's very honest about what they can help you achieve, and you're willing to put in the work equally as much as they are, then you definitely have a good recipe for success. Love it. I couldn't have said it better. You're so right. My last question for you is, what would you say to someone who's maybe on the fence thinking about working with pinpoint scaling and just isn't sure? What would you tell them?
Okay, I would say a couple things. I would say definitely give them a shot. I think that they're going to be very honest about what you can achieve. I would say be realistic. Part of that is knowing what your goals are and being transparent with them right off the bat. And then they'll tell you if that's something that they can meet, right? And then I would say is also just be prepared to put in the work yourself. If this is something where you're trying to not worry about and kind of let them completely take over at least the first 90 days, I don't think that's very realistic. And I feel like that's not spoken about enough. And then that kind of leaves marketing agencies in a crappy position, right? Because then you have all these unhappy clients because maybe they had unrealistic expectations. But I definitely think if you are seriously considering a marketing agency and are ready to put in that work temporarily in the beginning, then definitely go with Cam and Pinpoint Marketing. I am so glad I took that chance a second time because I definitely reap those rewards.
That's awesome. We're so grateful for you, Mallory, and being part of the Bonita family. Yeah, thank you so much for your time today. As always, it's always wonderful to speak with you and continue on the growth journey. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a really good day.
That's awesome. Oh, and also, I know I've spoken enough, but I also just wanted to add that we are now running a third campaign on Botox. We've only been running it for 5 days and we've already gotten 5 booked appointments. I've only seen one of them so far, but we've already closed on that one. And so we're hoping that this is also going to be a really successful campaign. So far, it's looking really, really good.
Love it. We're just going to keep building it
Yeah,
up, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's the goal.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you have a great day. We'll chat soon.
Okay. Bye, Kat.